Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined once again by my two WiseTake regulars. We got Matt Amon. You can find him on Twitter at MattAmon123. And as always, we got Steve Hillman, better known as Fuego Steve. You can find him on Twitter at Fuego_Steve. I think I just called you Steve Fuego. Fuego Steve.
Hey, that's cool. Mick Jester did the same thing on the podcast. He's like, he called me a cool guy, so I got to take that. But he said something like, Fuego Steve or Steve Fuego. So it's cool, man.
There's something. I think people just like to, including myself, we just like to say the word Fuego, man. You give us a reason to say it.
It does have a ring to it. Man. I have to give the band Fish credit for having.
It's simple enough, but it's like complex. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because you could have been Fire Steve.
And it works perfectly with my lineups when people tweet me the fire emoji.
Dude, you could have been like Fire Steve, and it doesn't have the same ring. You know what I'm saying?
That's
or like
exactly
Steve.
Right.
None of that sounds good. Fuego Steve.
Flamin' Steve sounds about right.
But there's something about it though. Fuego Steve. You know what I'm saying? Friggin'.
It's cool, but let's enough about me. I don't want to talk about baseball. I prefer me, but I guess we can talk baseball.
We're gonna have to at some point. We had some live show was fun last night, man. For those of you that aren't tuning in to the Sunday night live shows, they have been a lot of fun. The chat is certainly entertaining, a bit distracting, but I think in a good way. We saw some funny words that I'm not gonna say on here, but some new ones that I thought were pretty good. Yeah, I was definitely appreciating. So ironically, I know that you guys had like not even a debate because you were both kind of in agreement. You both like both pitchers, but Carnes and Trevor Cahill, two cheap pitchers, man. And Carnes went out, ripped it up. You both liked them, and Cahill, he did his thing too. He's in line. Knock on wood, he's in line to get the win now, and he had a pretty solid 37.
He just got it. He got the win.
Yeah, man. Some great takes on the live show. Another reason you guys got to watch it. All right.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It's funny. I think if I remember correctly, I said something like, I'll say Cahill or I'll say Carnes and you say Cahill and we'll help no one. Well, if you took them both on DK, man, you did very well.
When you afforded the bats because some bats went off. So, you guys ready to talk the slate?
Let's get into it.
Problem speaking today. I'm just going to tell you guys in advance. Matt and Fuego know. But letting you guys know, I'm having some serious problems speaking words today. AJ Griffin of the Texas Range. Oh, no, we're skipping that game, right? Because it's the only 340 game.
Yeah.
All right. Even better. Ariel Miranda, the lefty from the Seattle Mariners, visiting Jared Eichhoff of the Philadelphia Phillies. Go ahead, Matt. What are we doing?
My man, Ariel Miranda. He did well for me last time out when I played him against my Angels. And I think, today looking through the slate, there's an unbelievable amount of teams in really good spots, really good stack spots. It's going to be hard tonight to narrow it down. But because there's so many good stack spots and so many spots to pay up, I think I do have interest in Miranda against a team like the Phillies who strikes out a lot. And Miranda usually pitches in the American League, so he gets this good National League matchup where he gets to see a pitcher in the lineup. And he's been pitching pretty well lately. He's had some decent strikeout numbers, and at 6,900, I have a fair bit of interest in Miranda. Eichhoff, I'm not sure if I have any interest in him yet. I don't think that I do, just because I think Seattle's a little bit too good. So I don't think I have any interest in Eichhoff. And then I feel like today, like I said, there's so many good stacks, so many teams in play. I don't think either of these teams are going to be on my radar.
Okay, what you got, Fuego?
My eye is twitching, so if I that's what I got. No,
he really does not want to talk about baseball.
That's right. If I look weird or I turn away or something, it's because of my eye. But anyway, I like the pitchers definitely more than the hitters in this spot. I think the problem is that there's other pitchers that I like better. And I talk a lot about FanDuel on this pod. And when you're only using one pitcher, I think there's other pitchers I'd rather use than these guys. Um, and they don't have the highest strikeout, which I've been playing a lot of guys that have the higher K per 9 innings recently, and they're just, yeah, I don't think they're going to cut it for me on FanDuel at least. And as far as the bats go, with only 4 and 4.1 implied run total on each side, they would be in play for stacks as always, or mini stacks, or one-offs. But I don't think I'm doing full stacks in this game. We got some better places to go.
Yeah, it's tempting. I mean, the first game we see, and you see Miranda. Yeah, granted he's coming off a good start, but he has had a tendency this year to give up home runs. You got Eichhoff. I mean, it's still the Phillies park. Anybody is going to give up home runs in the Phillies park. So it's tempting to stack up this game, but at the same time, like Matt said, you got to respect these pitchers a bit, especially even Eichhoff. And now Eichhoff obviously isn't the same pitcher to lefties as he is to righties. So I wouldn't want to play him necessarily. I mean, then again, you look at the other pitchers in this tier, and you might have to consider it. But yeah, I like the bats in this game for sure. Like you said, Fuego, I don't think I would do a full on stack, but yeah, like 2 or 3 guys from each side, like maybe something like that. But I think it's interesting. I think it's a good park. We know Miranda gives up a lot of fly balls. Eichhoff, I believe, it also gives up a lot of fly balls. So I definitely like the lefties from Seattle, and it's kind of hard to take your pick from the Phillies, right? Like it's tough to look at, like, which way do you go? Do you take like Altair and Hernandez? Do you go, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of odd, but it's kind of hard. I find it harder to stack the Phillies just because like none of the players stand out to where you're like, I want that guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Right.
but if you could figure it out, then maybe you could take it home.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's interesting. Like, if it wasn't such a big slate with so many good options, I would have a lot of interest in everything in this game. But because there's so many good options, I feel like this game's just going to be a little bit overlooked because it's just going to be, the pitchers might be 9th and 10th on my list, and the stacks might be 9th and 10th. So
isn't that the way it works sometimes? I always tell people, everything is slate dependent. And we talked about it last night we didn't have any good pitching choices, for example. And sometimes we have a ton of pitching choices, and it just is all slate dependent. So you're right, exactly. Like, to add to that, I like Cano in this spot, but like, exactly, if it was a different slate, I might like hitters or pitchers better.
It's certainly a great point for sure. Oh, we got Mad Max Scherzer of the Washington Nationals visiting Fuego's Baltimore Orioles with Ubaldo Jimenez. Go ahead, Matt. What you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a real quick analysis of this game. I like everything on the Washington side, and I like nothing on the Baltimore side. I mean, hey, Max is really good. I know Baltimore's been heating up a little bit, but I respect Max enough, and I think Baltimore strikes out enough to make Max the top pitching option on this slate, if I can speak. And then Ubaldo just stinks, and Washington's getting a nice league upgrade into the American League. I kind of expect, Trey Turner sat out today, but I expect him to be back tomorrow, so I expect all the Nationals in the lineup. And they underwhelmed us today, and Gausman actually pitched pretty well, but I don't expect Ubaldo, and I think Washington gets them, goes big tomorrow.
I see that. Go ahead, Fuego. What you got?
Yeah, I can't remember what Ubaldo, or it's not popping up for me, did last game. Maybe only 3 innings, but he pulled the on the 19th of April, 42 FanDuel points, 7.2 innings pitched. Ooh, we're getting the good Ubaldo. And then, as usual, 10 FanDuel points the next day, 4 FanDuel points the next time. I love the Washington side against Ubaldo, and I absolutely agree that the Orioles are going to strike out a bunch, and they will strike out a bunch. There will be a home run. I just don't know who it's going to be by yet on the Orioles.
You hit it right on the head, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty standard here, guys. I wouldn't overthink it. The Washington Nationals are pretty good despite being shut down by Gausman. They are pretty good offense. And Ubaldo is not very good. They're in a hitter's park, and the Washington Nationals have Mad Max. So, yeah, it seems pretty simple. Don't go crazy on the Baltimore hitters. I think you're right, Fuego. I think Scherzer, he is home run prone, so he's due to give up 1 or 2 home runs, but that does not mean he's not going to get 12 or 13 strikeouts either. So, if you want to get funky,
Right.
it's a large slate, right, guys? So I don't think we have to go there. But if you want to, if you think you could figure it out, if you think you got to read, then if you want to take that shot, I don't think too many people are going to have that player. I don't see too many people wanting to stack against Mad Max. I certainly don't want to. So
don't do it. There's no reason to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get cute. But I would like to add, and I'm going to give credit to Tommy G from Guru Elite with this. He was talking last week. It was maybe Chris Sale or someone like that, and he's like, yeah, the other teams. It was maybe it was Sale against the Orioles, maybe, and he's like, yeah, they're going to get maybe a solo shot or two, and then I think I even called him a Machado shot that night, and but he'll get 11 strikeouts and might give out a couple runs. Well, that's just as good as 7 strikeouts and no runs. And he's right. And you got to look at that sometimes. So I wouldn't stack the other side. But if you end up having a feeling someone is going to hit a home run, go ahead and play that one off. And then on the other side, don't be afraid to play Scherzer, because most of the time pitcher's not going to give up 0 runs anyway. But if you can get those ton of strikeouts, which he has the potential for, you should do it.
I mean, on top of that, anything could really happen. Like, unlikely, but say Mad Max has some control problems. The Washington Nationals bullpen this year has not looked all that great. So I wouldn't recommend a stack. Absolutely not. Matt, tell him again.
Do not do it. There's 0 reason to do it, because it's like, hey, they're going to be low owned. What did he do? I mean, you can get 6 or 7 teams on this slate that nobody's going to have that are in 50 million times better spot.
Good point.
Right, and I mean, I know we're dwelling on this a little, but we're talking strategy, so I don't mind. When there's definitely times to stack up against certain pitchers in certain spots with certain teams that are projected to be like the best pitcher. But the problem is, we're talking, you're going to have to get it right that one time that Scherzer has a bad game. Well, is it 1 out of 10 times? Do you want to take that chance that every, 90% you're losing your money, and things like that. So that's what you got to think of when doing that kind of stuff.
Trust. All right, guys, we got.
And just to add, Washington does have a 4.8 implied run total against Ubaldo, which is the second highest on the slate outside of Colorado.
Carlos Carrasco of the Cleveland Indians visiting Mike Balsinger of the Toronto Blue Jays. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, on DraftKings, I don't know who they price the Indians for, but they price them for somebody good, and they're not facing somebody good. So that being said, I have a lot of interest in the Indians at their price. They're really cheap on DraftKings, so I like the Indians a whole bunch. On the pitching side, I think Carlos Carrasco is interesting just because the Blue Jays are pretty bad and he's pretty good. I know that's really in-depth analysis. But, I like Carrasco a lot here, and he is definitely my second favorite pitcher on the slate.
Well, we spent a lot of time on last game, so we can make this one short. Good, bad, that's fine.
All right, Fuego.
Yeah. Well, I agree with definitely the big righty bats on Cleveland, because I think they have either he has reverse splits or they something, because my model seems to like the righties versus the righty Boisinger. And I don't even think Cleveland has that many left-handed bats anyway. Chisenhall doesn't bat that high in the order.
Cleveland, they have a lot of switch hitters.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. That's true.
That's Santana.
Yeah, that's right. That's
and
right.
Jose Ramirez.
Yeah. True. Yeah, exactly. I forget. That's why I think they don't have a lot of lefties. Chisenhall, he's projected about 6 today. So, and I don't have much else to add. Matt pretty much got the rest. Good, bad.
Yeah, I like the Indians. Carrasco.
We could go. Yeah, we could go through every player, but I said, hey, they're cheap. I mean, Lonnie Chisenhall 3,000. I mean, that's an amazing price.
Yeah, exactly, and he's 2,800 on FanDuel. Exactly.
I'm with you guys. I like Carrasco a lot. I think these Blue Jays, and I know they had a good game today.
Yeah, I like Carrasco too, for sure.
Can't find the strike zone.
Gotta have to figure that out.
Carrasco's not a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Adam Wainwright.
Carrasco's had no less than 33 FanDuel points this year in any game.
He's solid. The only thing holding me back from playing him in like a cash setting is Scherzer's in the slate. So,
Right. For $300 more. Right.
Adam Wainwright of the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Dan Straley and the Miami Marlins. Go ahead, Matt.
This is another one of those games, kind of like the first one we went through, where it's like I don't really want to play either of the pitchers, but I don't really want to stack up the offenses either. It's just like kind of like if it was a shorter slate, I'd have more interest in everybody. But on this slate, nothing quite makes the cut for me. It's like both pitchers are decent enough, but they don't really have the strikeout upside other than Straley, who struck out the Padres a million times, but that's not real.
Not real.
And then Wainwright, who's not the same pitcher that he used to be, and he'll actually probably gain some traction at this price. And so I just don't like anything from this game, to be honest.
Fuego.
Speaking of basketball, got some good basketball lineups going. The worst part of NBA basketball now is they only play one game a night. So if you want to play, you have to split your night up into 2 nights. It's interesting. FanDuel made it late swap because of that. DraftKings did not. So for anyone who's still playing basketball out there, if you do play FanDuel, they are allowing the late swap because it's the next day. I like some of the Miami guys. Stanton, for sure. I've been ride the Stanton wave, in my opinion. He's been heating up, and I don't have too much interest in bats or. This is another one of those games, bats or pitchers, not a ton of interest on either side. Maybe Dan Straley a little. He's 8,400 on FanDuel. Just more for his upside. It is a risky play. But he had 61 a couple of days, three times out ago. So 14 strikeouts in 7 innings. Well, it was against the Padres, but yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with
Wainwright, maybe a little. I don't know. Wainwright a little, maybe. Both of them are in that definitely DraftKings spot, not FanDuel. It's so hard when you're talking about FanDuel because you're just thinking one pitcher. So I will adapt my stance and say I probably have more interest on both of them.
I probably have more interest in the bats because of like what you just said, Fuego. I play primarily baseball on FanDuel. Thanks to you. But then I was just kidding. But yeah. So because I do primarily play baseball on FanDuel, I have more interest in the bats simply because I don't have interest in the hitters. So it's like, I'm sorry, in the pitchers. So yeah, I think bats but Cardinals have been pretty hot, man. Carpenter's been red hot, dude. But you're gonna pay for it. He's 4-4 on FanDuel. You're gonna pay for it if you want. Jeff Samardzija of the San Francisco Giants visiting Zach Wheeler of my New York Mets. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I don't think I can play Samardzija here just because the Mets hit righties too well. And I don't trust Samardzija enough. He had a really good outing against the Dodgers last outing, but I don't trust that to happen again. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I can't trust that. And then Wheeler, I think is interesting because the Giants are so bad, but they also don't strike out very much. So that worries me at that price. So, I don't think I'm really on either of the pitchers here. And then on the other side, I think Samardzija's a little bit too good for the Mets to get to him in a big way. And then I just think the Giants are too bad to get to Wheeler in a big way. So it's kind of just another one of those games where I'm just not too into anything.
Go ahead, Fuego.
Yeah, the implied run total for each team, though, is so low that it makes me lean towards the pitchers, but it's that whole strikeout thing. I just said a few minutes ago, I've been into strikeouts recently. And if you're not getting the strikeout upside, it's hard. So, they might not be scoring a lot of runs, but the strikeouts are what get you points in GPP, well, in general. So, and on the batters, hold on a second, I'm looking. Yeah, this is the thing. Some of the batters on the Mets are like the worst rated batters in my model, like really low against Samardzija. So, like, why are they that low? And it's like that makes me lean towards Samardzija.
Yeah, well, if you guys noticed, both of these teams have some really low run projections. Vegas seems to think this is going to.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I have no problem with Samardzija. I said I don't think I'm going to do it, but if someone wanted to play Samardzija, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him dumb for doing it. Yeah, absolutely.
No, and it's a great park for pitchers
It
too.
is, especially when the weather's going to be about 60, which isn't great. So yeah, I think so.
Do the Mets strike out?
They can. Especially with this lineup they have now with Flores, Rivera in there. Like they're missing Cespedes. They're missing
Yeah.
a lot of big guys. So.
I mean, he struck out 11. He struck out 11 Dodgers in 8 innings last time out.
The Mets strike out fourth fewest in baseball,
7.4.
Yeah. So. Last year they struck out. They struck out a lot, but this year they haven't been really following that trend because their lefties have actually been hitting. Really two guys, Conforto and Bruce. They've been hitting this year. So. And with that said, I don't mind those two guys. You want to play those two guys, that's it. But other than that, man, like Walker's been pretty cold. Granderson is cheap enough you could take a shot, but I'm not trying to pick on Samardzija too much in this park. But yeah, a couple one-offs if you want to take a shot. Yeah, somebody will probably hit a home run.
Yeah, I might think about Samardzija now that I'm looking at it. I kind of like his upside. If I'm playing a bunch of lineups, I might have some a little bit.
For sure. I would like Wheeler, but I'm worried about his control, and I'm worried. And the Giants stink offensively, but they don't strike out that much either. I don't think. At least they didn't last year.
Well, yeah, and I want him to see him do the innings. He only has one game with 7 innings, 5.54.
All right, we got CC Sabathia, the lefty of the New York Yankees, visiting Tim Adelman of the Cincinnati Reds. Go ahead, Matt.
I think this is the only game on the slate that might have weather concerns. But if it looks good to go, I love the bats in this game. Definitely no on the pitchers. And I love the bats on this game. The Yankees are one of the best offenses in baseball. They did it again today, scoring 10 runs. And then the Reds, I think the Reds their offense is pretty good too, and they're a good fantasy offense too. Hit home runs, good ballpark, good speed, kind of everything you need. So yeah, I love the bats in this game, and I hope it plays.
Go ahead, Fuego.
Yeah, I agree. 4.6 for Yankees, 4.5 for Reds, 9.1 total in this game. It's the highest, I believe, outside of Colorado. So Vegas likes them to score a lot of runs, which means I like them to score a lot of runs. So I will have stacks on both sides.
Hey guys, I love the bats here. Don't want nothing to do with no pitches, but I love the bats. All right, we got Chris Young of the Kansas City Royals visiting Matt Andriese, I don't know what his name is, of the Tampa Bay Rays. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, so I really like Andriese here. Kansas City is one of the worst offenses in all of baseball. They're just bad, and Andriese's been pretty decent. He had a really good game last time out, putting up 31 DraftKings points. So that's good. We know it's a good park for pitchers. But on the other side, I actually have a lot of interest in the Tampa bats also, because Chris Young is just #bad, just real bad. So yeah, and Tampa's really cheap too. I mean, on DraftKings, you could probably play Max and Carrasco and play Tampa, and it would be fine. So I have a lot of interest in Tampa, and this is one of the reasons why I would never stack against Max, in Baltimore on this particular day, just because you can get Tampa at similar ownership in just a way, way, way better spot. So yeah, I like the Tampa bats here.
Go ahead, Fuego.
Just to backtrack, I'm looking at the Cincinnati weather in the last game, and it looks like it should be okay, at least on what I'm looking at. So keep an eye on it as usual. And we've talked about in the past, and I know, just so if it looks wet, like there's going to be weather, but it looks like it's going to play, definitely don't be afraid to play it because others will be. So, and on to this game. I don't know why my model likes Wheeler. I don't.
Likes Wheeler, huh?
Yeah, I know, and it's been on recently. So shout out to Fantasy Labs, man. I make models on there, and they're a great product, and you should check them out if you ever want to create lineups and build them quickly and things like that. So on the San Francisco side, I don't really.
We're on the next game. We're on the next game.
Oh,
come on, Fuego.
That's like 2 games ago, bro.
Hey, I got caught up in the Cincinnati, so I went backwards.
It's 112 on the East Coast. I'll give us.
Hey, why is there no? That is true. We started late. We'll move along on the next couple of games here. But just, do you know why there's no over-under yet?
Don't.
I would guess that they're not sure if Chris Young is starting for Kansas City because he hasn't been starting this year. So I bet you they're waiting on that.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, definitely would like the Tampa Bay Bats, for sure. No doubt. And Andriese, he's probably one of those DK pitchers for me. I'm going to start doing that. I'll say whether I like a guy on DraftKings or I like him on FanDuel. How about that? And I definitely would like him, but he does have that upside. We've seen him again last game out, put 55. He's got a 40 earlier, so he's got some upside for sure. So I would probably have some interest on DraftKings and possibly one in that price range on FanDuel. And
yeah, he could definitely be sneaky for sure. I think on FanDuel, the Rays bats would allow you to pay up for Carrasco and Scherzer, whichever one you would want. On FanDuel, they're really cheap. Brad Miller, 2.6K. Corey Dickerson, 3.1. Logan Morrison, 2.9. Even Longoria, 2.9. I know they haven't been the hottest offense, but just throwing that out there. They are pretty cheap, so that could be your stack. You want to hit Scherzer in them. Anyway, Drew Pomeranz, the lefty of the Boston Red Sox, visiting Wiley Peralta of the Milwaukee Brewers. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I actually think I like Drew Pomeranz here a lot. Milwaukee strikes out a lot. It's a nice league upgrade for him going into the National League and getting to face the pitcher. It seems like whatever kind of injury concerns he had earlier on in the season are kind of gone. So I like Pomeranz here a fair bit. I think his price is pretty fair. And, so I like him. On the other side, we certainly can't play Willie Peralta. Boston doesn't strike out, and they're a tough lineup that seems to be getting hot. That being said, I don't know if Boston is going to be super high on my list because they lose the DH, and I don't know. I don't know. They've been killing the ball, so maybe I should like them, and they do have some guys that are fairly priced. So Boston will definitely be on the list. But I'm not sure that they're my favorite.
Go ahead, Fuego.
I definitely like stacking up Boston recently. So they got a 4.6 implied run total. If you're not playing cores, if you're going somewhere else, you could consider a stack with them. And I don't like the Brewers.
Why is Peralta kind of good all of a sudden? Like what's going on there? Like his last two games?
Matt said it last night. He's on the juice.
He's good. He's never been this good. Like, this is crazy.
He was actually decent towards the end of last season too. I was reading somewhere that he picked up some new pitch or something, and that's kind of been helping him.
New substance.
Oh,
But he's probably he's probably just gone to the Ryan Braun, Eric Thames.
That's right. They are all on the same team.
Milwaukee Juicers.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean.
Braves at Houston.
What's that?
Braves at Houston.
Bartolo Colon of the Atlanta Braves visiting Charlie Morton of the Houston Astros. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of interest in both Morton and the Houston Bats. Morton has been actually really good in his last two starts, and against Oakland, who stinks and strikes out a fair bit, but against Texas, who's a pretty decent lineup and hits righties well. But it seems like Charlie Morton's a pretty good pitcher, and his price is really fair, $7,600. And we know the Braves don't strike out a whole lot, but they're still not, other than Freddie Freeman, an offense to really fear. And then on the other side, I think Bart's done. I think he's finally 150 years old. He's finally eaten one hot pocket too many, and I like Houston. And a lot of days Houston is chalky, but tomorrow, with all the great options, I doubt that Houston will be very chalky. And they do have a 5.1 projected run total, which is the highest outside of cores.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what I love. This is the perfect spot if you're fading cores. Go after the Houston Bats at 5.1. That's just 0.1 under what the Rockies are implied to get. So go for it. Go stack up Houston, Correa. Love Correa. I like Springer. I like Reddick. Pretty much the whole top of the order and even down. One guy who I'm not sure about Carlos Beltran. I feel like he's going to break out here sooner or later. He's had a couple okay games recently, but he's got a bunch of these zeros in there. So
he's
whether
old,
that happens
man.
sooner or
Sometimes
later,
he gets sore. He's old.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But Altuve, for sure. Basically any of these guys. I think Cologne, I agree with Matt. He's about done. And then on the other side, and then for pitching, I agree. Morton, out the past couple times on FanDuel, 49 and 51 points his last two, struck out 8 and 12 guys. So he's got the upside for sure. Definitely more of a GPP play for me.
Hector Santiago, the lefty of the Minnesota Twins, visiting Mike Pelfrey, the hand licker of the Chicago White Sox. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I like both offenses here quite a bit, and they're high on my list. We know the White Sox hit lefties pretty well, and we know Mike Pelfrey's absolutely terrible. So all the bats on both sides. The weather is going to be really cold here, which is a little concerning, but it is a good ballpark generally for hitters. So maybe that kind of cancels each other out. But yeah, I mean, the bats on both sides, I really have a lot of interest in. One guy that stands out to me is Avisail Garcia on the White Sox, who's been mashing. He mashes lefties, and he's really cheap, 3,700 on DraftKings.
There, Fuego.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty much we'll have some mini stacks of each batters, and don't like the pitchers too much.
Pretty short and sweet. I like it. John Lackey of the Chicago Cubs visiting Kyle Freeland, the lefty of the Colorado Rockies. Looks like we could see some rain again. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, on my weather thing, it looks to be safe. One thing to note here is this is going to be the second game of a doubleheader. They're playing the game they were supposed to play tonight, tomorrow. So maybe just watch and see how that game goes or whatever. But definitely not playing the pitchers here. And it's Coors Field. The batters, of course, are in play. The stacks are in play. We love it. They're all expensive. Can you fit it? Are there enough cheap pitchers to make it work and all those things? I don't think there's really a reason to get really in depth here. Just, play the batters if you can afford it.
It's interesting. I was going to say it's Coors. We know what to do. Let's move on. But I started to think about it. Do you think people would be even more on Coors because there was no game tonight, right?
Coors fixed.
So
bro.
Do you think?
Yeah,
right, that's what I'm wondering. Maybe if you can find a way to avoid it, maybe today's the perfect day to avoid it. And then on the other hand, look for that value because it's a doubleheader. Look for some guys that might be starting that weren't supposed to or normally don't, that you could get a quote cheap Coors bat in.
Yeah, I mean, my personal thing when I do Coors, unless I think nobody's gonna be on it, I don't usually fully stack it. One, it's too expensive usually, and I like paying up for pitcher, but also I like to take one-offs. I'll take one guy from the Rockies, like a guy that's hot, like Mark Reynolds or something. I'll just take one guy. You don't have to necessarily. You can still get some exposure without stacking it up every which way. I mean, fade it for the most part. Play the guy.
Great point. And that's a great strategy too. If you're taking one-offs here and there and you have money left, take one from Coors because that's a way to get exposure to it without having to deal with the masses. Because even if you get one guy in high ownership and you get Blackman right, you get Chris Bryant right, who I like both, are probably my top two guys tomorrow. If you get them right, you're fine. And that's a great one-off as opposed to someone not in Coors.
Why not? This is interesting. Justin Verlander, JV of the Detroit Tigers, against Robbie Ray, the southpaw from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm trying to see. I don't think I can play Verlander here at this price. I definitely like Carrasco and Max 10,000. Yeah, I don't like pitching pitchers in Arizona. And, he's been walking a lot of people in his last few starts. I don't think he's quite as good as he was last season. So I don't think I have any interest in Verlander. Ray on the other side, I do think is interesting, especially for GPPs. And he's shown that he can have lots of strikeouts in any matchup. He struck out 10 Nationals in his last time out, 9 Rockies the time before that. He struck out the Dodgers 10 times. So this guy has strikeout upside, and if he can avoid the walks, I think he could be in for a big day here, even though the Tigers are right-handed. But that being said, the bottom of their order is pretty weak. Kinsler's banged up. I don't know if he's going to be back in the lineup. So they had Austin Romine leading off over the weekend, so that's obviously a big boost. But I don't think I have any interest in the bats in this game just because there's so many other good spots, and both of these pitchers are pretty good.
Go ahead, Fuego.
For the bats, not really, except for a few Arizona mini ones, just because I think they'll be low owned. And for the pitchers, this is one of those where it's like I probably wouldn't mind Verlander, but then I look, he's facing Ray, who's almost $1,000 cheaper, who I like better. So I'm like, why would I go that way? Like if it was a different matchup, I might think differently or something. So that's kind of weird way to think, but that's one way I do think. I'm like, I do like Ray. He's got the upside. Detroit has, been disappointing so far, and so I would definitely fire him up.
I think there's a lot of like not necessarily from a fantasy perspective, but from a sports betting perspective, I would think there's a lot of value in Verlander plus 105. Verlander, I mean, listen, the guy's still decent. Arizona strikes out a ton. They do, and granted, I don't necessarily love taking pictures here either. But it's the forecast I see. It's not going to be all that hot, so it's like it's still the altitude and all that. But I don't mind Verlander because the strikeout upside. He's going to give up a couple bombs. I wouldn't be surprised to see Lamb or Peralta or Goldschmidt launch one off him. But I think he can get a ton of strikeouts here. And remember, I know if Kinsler's not playing, that's a big hit to the Detroit lineup. But remember, at one point, not this year, but at one point, the Tigers were lefty mashers. So I wouldn't sleep on the Tigers' offense against Ray. Ray's coming off a great game, and nobody's going to go there. I wouldn't sleep on the Tigers.
Yeah, and that's a great point, CK. So we were talking before, no reason to go after Scherzer with the Orioles. They only had a 3.8 implied run total. This is one where go with some Detroit guys, go with some Arizona guys, because people may not want to for the same reason. And this is a better spot to attack a perceived good pitcher or a good pitcher. Verlander and Ray, both good pitchers, but both spots I like the offense is better than I do the Orioles against Scherzer, for example. So you might be able to get lower ownership. They don't have the under 4 run total. So
yeah,
there you go.
I'm with you. I think there's certainly merit in there. Don't sleep on that game.
Can I get the Diamondbacks for $5?
Diamondbacks $5. I'll book you in there.
All right, you got it. I also want to point out that the Tigers are going to probably lose Victor Martinez in this game to the DH.
Yes, that's a good point. But they do have James McCann, the lefty masher, in high altitude.
He does. He does. I'll take Jake Lamb. You can take James McCann.
All right, I can do that because then I can pay for Scherzer. What?
James McCann, yep, big WOBA, big ISO differences for sure. Only 2,400 a catcher. I like it.
Potential, man. Only against lefties, but still.
I like it.
Okay, so Alex Meyer of the Los Angeles Angels.
Visiting
Jarrell Cotton of the Oakland Athletics. Go ahead, man.
I bet you can't guess that I love the Oakland A's pitcher here.
Oh my god!
But
you like them too much, like Graveman yesterday. You like
he just
too
hates
much.
his team.
Hey, I think no. I think Graveman did just fine today. Let's look. I played him in a bunch of teams, and I think he did just fine.
Okay, I just feel like you liked him more than you should have. Let's put it that way.
Hey, 18 DraftKings points for 6,500. Hey, everyone would have locked him in if I told you that.
Sure, you're right.
So you can call me a reverse homer, but it's like the Angels. The Angels are really, really bad, especially if Mike Trout is going to continue to be out. You know what I mean? True. It's just like, hey, are you scared by Yuniel Escobar and Martin Maldonado and Andrelton Simmons and Cameron Maben and Danny Espinosa? Like those guys are not scaring me.
So are you firing up Cotton?
Yeah, he likes it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Cotton
real quick.
tomorrow.
You know what's interesting? I'm looking right now at the projected lineup for the Angels, and it's like the guys that have been newly added to their roster were like the worst guys on their team last year. Like Martin Maldonado couldn't start. He lost the starting job. Danny Espinosa, granted, he got it going at the end, but he was like an 8-hitter for most of the year. Ben Revere was like an on and off platoon player for the Blue Jays. Luis Valbuena was like rotating with Marwin Gonzalez, who's having a great year this year, but he did not have a good year last year. It's like
he went off tonight.
I'll give it to him. He's having a great year.
And now you know why I hate on my team every day. Because they stink. So I'm not. Hey, Jarrell Cotton is a great play tomorrow, and he's by far my favorite pitcher in this price range. And I think he's shown that he's talented. He's a talented pitcher. And we love Oakland for pitchers. It's going to be a night game. The air is going to be really thick. And the Angels are bad. So, unless he gets battered to death, which, can always happen when I roster a guy 100%, he's going to be in good shape.
Oh, go ahead, Fuego.
How much is he on DraftKings?
7,800.
It's cheaper on FanDuel, actually. 75
on FanDuel. Yeah. I mean, I like Andriese better at 7.4.
You said you didn't like Andriese that much.
But just better. Better, I said better.
All right.
All right, so we do.
And I don't think I said that. I'm gonna have to check the tape. I thought I said I liked his upside.
You said, I don't know about Andriese. I guess I like him.
He did go back and look at his game logs, though. He did do that. He looked back and was like, oh, wow, a 50 of this. Yeah, I remember him saying.
We'll check the tape, but I mean, let's think about a Cotton Andriese bet for a minute, but let's go move on.
Well, I said I like Andriese too, and I'm going to play them both.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. We got one more game to get through. That's it. All right. We got Ivan Nova of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Last game here, visiting Matt's Los Angeles Dodgers. Who against of Los Angeles? Julio Urias. Urias, whatever his name. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I don't want to play Nova, even though he's been pretty decent this season. The Dodgers are just mashing righties right now. They had another big game tonight. So I don't want Nova. I don't want Urias. He doesn't pitch deep enough into games. He still has some lingering control issues. So no Urias for me. And then on the bats, I just don't think Pittsburgh's good enough. And I think Urias is at least decently talented to keep the Pirates down. And then the Dodgers bullpen is good, so I don't want Pirates. On the Dodgers side, I do think Nova's a decent pitcher, but I still think Corey Seager's a fine play. I think Yasmani Grandal's a fine play. Justin Turner's really cheap. Bellinger's been on fire. So I'm not going to stack up the Dodgers, but there definitely is some value there for some mini stacks for sure.
Yeah, not much interest at all on either side, either batters or pitcher.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I kind of like I don't mind the Dodgers bats just because, like Matt said, they've been hot.
Well, yeah, of course. The Dodgers mini stacks are one-offs for sure.
It's exactly what I'm thinking, and particularly one player because he's been Cody Bellinger, been a beast. You see these young guys pop up, and like Judge and like Bellinger, like these guys, man, they're killing it, man, coming up swinging. And Fordo, it's crazy, man.
Play him early before people really get on the train, though. That I don't know what Bellinger's ownership was tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna start going up. It's funny because like the time to play him was before because his price was low. Like on FanDuel, he's now 3,500, which I it's fine.
Right.
And now is the time everybody's gonna jump on him. He's crazy expensive. That's when everybody's gonna be like, yeah, we're all on the train, and So okay, guys. So let's talk about some of your favorite stacks here, Matt. You got some of your favorite stacks. Maybe got to look back a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
why don't we do?
I really like.
Why don't we do your favorite chalky stack, your favorite sneaky stack? Just and then you can name like a couple stacks that you just think that you're interested in. Because obviously you got to do your research.
All right. Well, I think Tampa Bay is going to be my favorite sneaky stack, and then. I don't know, but I think the Nationals may be my favorite chalky stack, but I don't know how chalky it's going to be, slate, with Coors on the board. Yeah, so, I think I would say the Nationals as my chalk, Tampa as my sneaky, and I kind of want to see where the Indians fall because I do have some interest there too. And if they're going to be ignored, I do like the Indians.
What about you, Figo? What are you thinking?
I'm just taking notes from Matt because I'm going to be anybody who's listening, check me out on Scout Fantasy tomorrow morning, 8:30 on Sirius XM, and we're going to be talking about sneaky stacks and chalk stacks. So I'm like, let me take some notes to make sure I'm on the same page as Matt. So at least I'm going down with the ship.
I like that. Teamwork.
So
loyalty.
I think I love that Houston stack outside of Colorado, and I think you might maybe. Are you going to get the Nationals sneaky? I don't know.
You might, just because of the fact that there's a
it.
course. You could. I'm not saying you will, but you could.
Maybe Cleveland against Toronto at 4.8 implied.
What
run
about
total.
the Reds against CC? You guys don't want to. What do you think about that?
Well, I like all the bats in that game for sure.
That whole game,
you think it'll be chalky? Game. What do you think? Well, when there's cores, there's so many games. There's so many good stacks. There's so many good bats.
Yeah, I don't think anything's gonna be too bad.
You can pretty much play what you want. Probably, you just have to pick the right players.
I don't know about you guys, but I have found that it doesn't matter as much in the fact that if you have a couple players that aren't as highly owned, it's okay to get the chalk. Yeah. At least from my experience here. And it's not so much as it has to go off no matter what, whether it's the chalk, whether it's not the chalk. You need that stack. You need that team to go off to win a GPP. And let's put it this way. I'll see ties in basketball. I'm not seeing very many ties in baseball.
Absolutely. No. I like the Tigers, man. I really do. I'm telling you. Icky.
Diamondbacks, baby, all the way.
Yeah.
Avatar bet.
We can do that, but I thought maybe you and well, we already got $5 online. I thought you guys were gonna do the Avatar with that.
Let's do the dong watch and go home.
I'm glad you said that because I would have forgot again. I've been forgetting it lately. All right. Who wants to go first?
I did get one right. I got Gardner right yesterday.
And
you got Trumbo.
I got Trumbo.
I got nobody. And Judge didn't even play.
That was a waste.
We should give Matt a head start, I think, and then we should start a tab, an actual scorecard moving forward or something.
We should get a scorecard.
No, you definitely should.
So far was practice, Matt.
Well,
sorry.
You know what? We might as well do it because we're gonna get ready to we're gonna rebuild the site a little bit, and why not keep track? Fun. Nice little feature.
Who am I going to pick? That's the question. You go first to this time, CK.
Me? I never go first.
Yeah.
You can't. I'm the host. I never go first. A gracious host never goes first.
That's right. You should go first tonight.
All right. Fair enough. See, the pressure's on now. I see. Like, if you don't have the first pick, then you're never like, you picked him first because I never have the first pick. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but this way you can't say, "Oh man, you took my guy."
But you're taking away all of my advantages. Like, you don't understand. Okay. I'm gonna pick somebody. I'm actually gonna go with Robbie Cano. I know it's kind of off the wall, but I think he's in a good spot in a good park. And Eichhoff struggles against lefties, so I'm gonna go Cano. Now that's the question: who's next? Because if one of you are first, the other one's next, and I'm last. So now who goes next?
I'll go. That's fine. Unless Matt wants to.
Go ahead.
I am going to say Miguel Sano. If he plays, am I allowed to do that? Or is he definitely not playing?
Is he not? What's wrong with Sano?
I don't know. He's got a Q next to his name. I'm going to go away just in case. How about...
Oh, you know what? It says he might be suspended. It said he's appealing.
Oh, right. That's right. He might... Okay, so let's go away from him, and I'll go Correa.
I will go. I said how much I like the Nationals, and I always like to pick them if Trout's going to be hurt. So I'll take Bryce Harper, and I will take Ryan Zimmerman.
Go ahead, Fuego.
How about a little Adam Duvall versus Sabathia?
There you go.
Let me see. I gotta back up what I was saying. So I'm going with James McCann. I gotta back it up. I know. I have.
All right.
Pick a stance, man. I gotta back it up. Double down. All right, go ahead, Fuego. Oh no, I get two now, right? My bad.
Yeah. You never get two.
I usually I'm the first one. I usually go last, so I get two.
That's right. You always.
I always get two. Again, one of my advantages. I'm gonna stick in this game, and I'm gonna go with Castellanos because I think one of these guys is hitting a home run. So it's a little hedge life. And if maybe they'll both do it. Castellanos.
Wow, you're all over
Like him,
Detroit.
man. No. Okay, Fuego.
Um,
Oh, wait,
it's
wait.
me now.
No, wait, I think it's Fuego.
No,
and
it's
then you.
me.
Yeah, it's
Oh
Fuego.
no, yeah.
See what
I-
happens when you
gonna
make me go first? It
go
messes
with-
everything up.
I know. Messes
That's
everything
right.
up.
That's right. We'll get it on take 2. Freddie Freeman
He's always a good. All right.
this
Go,
year
man.
for sure.
All right, I'm just gonna round out and have all nationals, and I'll take Daniel Murphy.
Murph the Smurf.
Do it. Load up against Ubaldo,
Yeah,
man.
that's a good call. That's a good call for sure.
Well, I should at least get one. I mean, Ubaldo's given up at least a couple.
That's right.
We'll root for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this edition of the WiseTake DFS podcast. Do us a favor if you're watching on YouTube. Click that thumbs up, click that like button. It means a lot to us. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow as much as we can. Have some fun on these pods anyway, right? If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, subscribe to the channel and leave us some reviews. It means a lot to us trying to bump up those charts as well. So leave some positive reviews, pump us up a little bit. Tell us how much fun you have listening to these pods. Tell us how much you love Matt and Fuego. It's always a good time with those guys. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us today. So thanks for watching or listening, whichever you're doing. For Matt, for Fuego, and for myself, as always, good luck.
Peace.
He